charging my phone. Hopefully the camera doesn't shake too much. We're going to be taking a look today at your next love story. So I'm assuming for most of you that you're probably single, but if you're unhappy in your current partnership and thinking about leaving it, maybe this reading will apply to you as well. But let's go ahead and get into it. Your next love story. And Gracie has joined us. Oh, okay. Let's see. Your next love story. Group 1. And a big thank you to my guides and your guides for coordinating these messages. Group 1, your next love story. We've got the Star, the Two of Wands. We've got the Moon. Ace of Swords, Eight of Cups. Okay, so I feel like what they're starting off with, your guides, they're telling us sort of the story of how this is going to come to pass and what's going on in your life, you know, prior to you starting this like new chapter in love, this next love story that's going to unfold for you. And so I'm going to get, don't worry, information about the person, your future love interest, but for right now, they're kind of just explaining what your mindset is like at that time and what's going on in your life. So this next love story is going to start sort of like a new chapter in your life, because there is going to be some sort of ending that precedes the beginning of this next love story. Now, it doesn't have to mean like, oh, you're going to break up with someone, although it could be that, right? If those of you are watching this are unhappy in your current partnership, maybe that's a message that will resonate. For others of you, though, this next love story may start when you decide to move somewhere, or you decide to distance yourself from friends who aren't really good for you and you start hanging around different people, or if you decide to leave a job or you decide to go back to school, something like that. So there'll be some sort of ending in your life, something that you're walking away from that had just kind of run its course, you know? Like, I'm not sensing here that you're bitter or upset about it. It's kind of just like, I'm gonna cut my losses and, you know, thank you, next. You know, I'm on to the next. It is what it is. And you're being really brave. You know, you're being really brave. It's something that you put a lot of thought into. It's not something that, you know, it's not an impulsive decision here. And this is something that you put careful planning into. And it's something that, again, like, it wasn't an impulsive decision. You made this decision with care, and it's you choosing yourself. You choosing yourself. And I think there will be a real moment of clarity here where you're like, you know what? This situation isn't giving anything to me, and I've given it everything that I possibly could, and enough is enough. And so it really is kind of this vibe of, you know, you sort of seeking your own happiness, seeking your own fulfillment, and, you know, kind of coming to this place of like, well, you know, if I stay in whatever this is, if I don't energetically, you know, make a change, if I don't shift my perspective, if I don't take any action here, I'm just going to continue to feel stuck. And so, you know, you're really doing something positive for yourself, and that is what is preceding this next love story happening. Now, with the Six of Cups, this could be you connecting with someone from your past or from your childhood, or someone that you share past lives with. This could be a soulmate connection. With the Six of Cups, it's always a sweet energy. Like, it's always sweet and cozy and loving, and kind of has this vibe of like, when I'm with this person, I feel like a kid again. You know, it's a very lighthearted, loving, nurturing energy where there's mutual effort, right? Okay, you have a lot of fun with them. You have a lot of fun with them. Bottom of the deck, I'm noticing now we have the King of Wands. So it could be Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. It could be a masculine, divine masculine person here. I definitely feel like this will be someone that you can joke around with a lot, someone that you share a similar sense of humor with. the Four of Wands, when you date this person, I definitely feel like you would have a lot of dates that involve like maybe like short like weekend getaways, or just you trying new things. Like there's an energy here of excitement, of getting out of the house. I'm not seeing a lot of nights spent in just watching a movie on Netflix, you know, that kind of vibe. I also feel like you could be meeting this person at some sort of social gathering or where there are other people, and it could be that you're both coming together to celebrate someone else. So you could meet this person at a birthday party or at someone's graduation party, or you could meet this person at a wedding. There's just this kind of vibe of like someone else is being celebrated, like you're not the main guest. You know, this future love interest isn't the main guest, but both of you are there to support you know, like whoever you came there with, or whoever is being like the guest of honor. So like if we're using a wedding as an example here, maybe you know the bride and they know the groom, that kind of thing. With the High Priestess, I do feel like intuitively you're going to pick up right away that this person is going to play a significant role in your life. Like it feels like a serendipitous, kind of almost like a chance meeting, or like this energy of like, yeah, I was meant to know this person was meant to come into my life. You just have a certainty about this in the beginning. You may not know how to cope with that, you may not know how to handle it, but I feel like you do have that awareness. It does feel like, oh, this person is gonna play a role in my life, you know? With Temperance here, you could meet them, you know, at a place where people are drinking alcohol. I mean, sometimes with Temperance, it can talk about that. So, you know, at weddings, people tend to have, you know, like cocktails and things, right? So it could be an event where alcohol is being served. And, you know, if you think about celebrating someone, typically there are toasts, right? Like, oh, let me say a toast to this person. So it really could be a wedding for some of you, or any type of celebratory event. Sorry, I feel like my energy has just been, I don't know, a little bit all over the place. So if I'm tripping up on my words a lot, if you guys can overlook it, I would greatly appreciate it. I have a lot going on, and I really needed to film because it really helps my own mental state. You know, it helps me like focus in and just get into the flow state, and it really helps me a lot. I enjoy filming, but I have noticed I'm tripping up on my words a lot, so I apologize. Hopefully it gets better as the reading progresses, but I just wanted to say that in case it was getting on anyone's nerves. I'm sorry. Okay. We have the Three of Swords. This person really could come into your life after some sort of ending that leaves you feeling, because with the Eight of Cups here, it's like, I know I have to leave because I'm choosing myself, but it kind of gives this energy of like you being forced into that decision, because to stay would be to continue to allow yourself to be hurt, or to allow yourself to be disrespected, or just treated very poorly. And so it's like, well, I have to choose myself. I mean, this situation or this person isn't giving me much of a choice here. I can't stay in something where I'm being disrespected, where my needs aren't being met. So, you know, it is what it is. This isn't what I wanted, but I'm left with no choice in this. And you may find, given that we have the Six of Cups, that what's going on in your life at this time, this new love interest is going to mirror that. So you guys may find common ground. You know, they may say, oh, I went through something similar, and so that would be a way that you two quickly connect. You may not know that until later on, because I do feel like in the beginning, when you meet this person, it's going to be really lighthearted, telling jokes, being chatty with each other, flirting, you know, some banter back and forth, a nice, easy rapport between you two. But it definitely is one of those things where you keep it light. you keep it very light. If they were to try to go deeper with you, or were to try to maybe like overtly express romantic feelings towards you, then I feel like you would clam up. Then you may be a bit guarded just because of your mindset at this time. I feel like you're just very cautious, very protective of yourself, very much like wanting to conserve your energy and wanting to keep your energy, I'm hearing just like pure, you know, like good for yourself. You don't want to put yourself in another situation or position where you're feeling that disrespect again. And so I feel like, you know, it's not that you don't want love. It's not that at all. You're just a bit gun shy about it. You know, like there's an energy here of like, I don't want to waste any time. I don't want to waste any energy. You know, I've been there. I've done that. You know, I am trying to do what is best for me. And if anyone like threatens your peace, I feel like that's when it's like, nah. So I feel like you're just cautious. You're just cautious, maybe a bit guarded, very protective over yourself, which is, by the way, very understandable. Okay, what's this person like? What are they like? Okay. They definitely, this may be that energy I was picking up on where they are very flirty. They are very flirty. I wouldn't be surprised if their love language is like physical touch, because they definitely are someone who's very comfortable in their body, and I don't feel like they really think too much about it. Like they don't really have any insecurities in that area. So I really feel like they can just be very flirty in that way. They're very confident. They don't get rejected a lot. And so, you know, it's not a big deal for them to approach someone, to start chatting somebody up. Yeah, that's like they're very charming, very sociable. Definitely more of an extrovert, I would say. They could be possibly from another country or a different cultural background than you. I do feel like they've traveled quite a bit. They're very financially stable, for sure. They have their ducks in a row in terms of that. They also are very big into health and fitness, and they may have a sport that they're really good at, because for some of you, this person's quite athletic, so they may be good at a bunch of different things, or they may have one sport that they really excel at. Yeah. I feel like this person's going to spot you from across the room, and then they're going to approach you. Like they're gonna try to make eye contact with you, like catch your eye, but they're definitely checking you out before you notice them. And they may show off a little bit to impress you. You know, they could tell a joke like very loudly to try to get your attention, or, you know, really try to make an effort to get you to laugh, or they could, you know, maybe humble brag a little bit. This person does like maybe like peacock a little bit. Like they can be a little bit of a show off. Yeah, in a lovable way, but they're just very confident. Definitely like fire sign energy from this person, but you will be able to have deeper conversations with this person. I just don't think that during that initial meeting you even want to go deep anyway, and I don't think that, you know, they like to do that either. I think they like to keep things light and fun, and I think emotionally where you're at, you're kind of in that same space. But I do feel like there will be one point, I'm hearing in the evening, so this may be a meeting that happens later in the day, but I'm hearing in the evening you will break away from this like larger gathering of people and have some one-on-one time. This person also is very much into gift giving as a love language as well. and this person will definitely make excuses to touch you. You know, like just not in like an inappropriate way, but they may, you know, I had this message in another reading recently, but just make an excuse to like touch your arm or, you know, something like that, like not assaulting you or anything, but just in a flirtatious way. They are definitely very affectionate. You know, when you date this person, very affectionate, very loving. And they're not, you know, they're the type of person that is just like the center of attention in a room. I mean, they're not a wallflower by any means. They definitely are not afraid to put themselves out there. For some of you, this person could be a musician. They could be an artist of some sort. Or even they could be really active on social media, because there's just something there about a lot of eyes tend to be on this person. And they like that. They do like a little bit of attention in that way. Like they're just very, very sociable, like a social butterfly kind of. And it does give kind of the feeling of like an artist, an actor, a musician, like someone who's used to being on stage, used to having a lot of eyes on them, you know, used to working in an environment or performing in an environment for like a crowd of people. Or this could just be that this person is so charismatic, they just tend to kind of like hold court in social situations where you know, like everyone gathers around them to hear their stories, to hear their jokes. Like they're very magnetic in that way, you know, like some people are just like that, you know, like I used to work with this lady, and I actually had lunch with her today to say goodbye, but whenever she was out from work, it was just like a cloud over the clinic, because she just had one of those personalities where she made the workday brighter, funner. Like she was always, you know, like cracking jokes, always happy-go-lucky. Like no matter how bad things were for her in her like personal life, like she always came to work with a smile on her face, and you know, was really just someone who elevated the mood. And so when she wasn't there, it was just very like bleh, you know, like it really just brought down the whole vibe of the place. And she was really great at like smoothing over tensions between other coworkers, and believe me, there was a lot. And so, you know, I'm picking up that kind of vibe from this person of like, they're just very like socially and emotionally intelligent. Like they know how to interact with a wide variety of people, and they know how to move with ease through like different social settings and social circles. And you know, if you tend to be more of an introverted person, I definitely feel like they would bring you out of your shell more. And I feel like especially, you know, if you're dealing with a lot at this time and you've had a lot of changes and you made this big life decision and you're still, you know, trying to reconnect with yourself and all of that, get your bearings in your life again, I feel like this would be the perfect person to kind of help you through that transition, because they keep things fun, they keep things light, and they would really help you get to a place to where you would feel comfortable to open up. And I bet you once you were at that space, then this person would reveal, oh, I've been through similar things, and then you would have that emotional depth come in. So in the beginning, you may think this is going to be like a fun fling or something like that, but then as you continue to talk to this person and maybe even develop a friendship first, then that emotional depth would come in. I definitely feel like this person will probably pursue you, and I think that they would have a lot of patience towards you, because again, they do have that emotional intelligence. That's what makes them so charismatic and charming, because it is in a very like pure way, not in a way where It's like they have, you know how some people use their powers for good and other people use their powers for bad? This person uses their powers for good, right? Like they want people to have a good time and to enjoy themselves and to feel comfortable and to have fun. They don't use their charm and their emotional intelligence and their knack for reading social cues. They don't use that as a way to manipulate and use people, you know, like there's a difference, right? Okay, let's see. Anything else about this love story? We've talked about how you could possibly meet. We've talked about this person's personality. Anything else, Spirit, that I'm just missing, that I'm not seeing about this love story that group 1 should know? Anything that I've left out? Let's see. We've got the 5 of Cups here. I'm hearing now, okay, so they're taking me back to what will probably be that initial meeting for most of you. Remember how we were talking about it being at like some sort of social gathering where people will be drinking, coming to celebrate. I'm hearing that, remember how we said towards the evening you two were gonna like break away from the larger group, go off on your own, have some one-on-one time with this person. I'm hearing that that's going to continue even when most people have gone home and they're starting to clean up the event space, or the restaurant is starting to shut down. The lights are getting dim, you know how they cut off the music, that kind of thing. Like, you guys stay together even after the main party or the main event is over. We have the Queen of Pentacles here. This may be how they see you, but even if you're not like Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo, or even if you don't resonate as a divine feminine, I feel like this is really speaking to the idea that this person's going to see you as someone who could add value to their life, but they're also going to value you. So remember that 6 of Cups in the very, very beginning, because I'm hearing that's going to be the main overarching theme of this entire dynamic between you two, is this idea of giving to each other and both having something to offer, both having something to bring to the table. We have the 10 of Wands. Yeah, it's not going to feel like, oh, I'm having to put in all the effort and they're giving me nothing. Like, even if they're going to pursue you, I still feel like, you know, you're not doing it in a way where you're playing hard to get or anything like that. You're still just having your standards, but you're not leading them on. Like, there's nothing about this that is unfolding, I feel like, in a messy way. I just feel like you're probably going to say to them, or maybe set a boundary with them and say, listen, like, I'm coming out of something. I don't really want to explain it or give details, but, you know, like, if this continues to go somewhere and develops and I feel like I can trust you, then I'll talk about it. But for right now, like, don't push me on it. This is what I can handle. This is what I can't. I feel like you can just be kind of straight to the point with this person and they're like, okay, cool. And even if you were to tell them, Ace of Cups, yeah, I love this Ace of Cups because there's actually 2 cups on the card. And one of them looks more feminine and one of them looks more masculine. So I really feel like this could be like a divine counterpart, you know, the divine masculine coming together with the divine feminine. But there's just this energy here of like, okay, cool. Like, you know, and if you were to tell this person, I just want to be friends first, I feel like they would be down, you know. There's a real energy here of, I think because they're so confident, they don't act out of insecurity. And a lot of people who end up hurting others do so because they're projecting their insecurities onto that other person, and that ends up with like passive aggressive behavior, dishonesty, infidelity. You know, they try to control, they try to assert themselves, and a lot of it comes from insecurity, whereas this person is very confident within themselves, and so they're not projecting their BS onto you. And so that's why this can be, you know, a healthy partnership for you if you decide to pursue it. which this is going to be your next love story, so I'm assuming most of you are going to give this person a chance. Okay. We have the Six of Swords. Yeah, remember how I said, like, they will help you through almost like this transitional period in your life. And it's like you are taking that initial step to help yourself, but like the emotional fallout of that and like you trying to process it all and come to terms with it and release it and be better for it, they help you through that. They help you through that just by being there, by being a steady presence for you, and by helping you to have fun and like really key into the present moment so that you can, I'm hearing like, let the shadow of the past melt away, okay? And we have the Five of Pentacles here. Yeah, they're like dragging you away. Like if you are like clinging to or holding on to any like resentment or bitterness or just even a perspective of like, well, I've been burned in the past or I've been hurt in the past and so that's all that it's ever gonna be and I'm sick of it and I'm just done with all of it and I don't even know if I believe in like love and soulmates and all that anymore. Like, you know, just like sort of like feeling jaded and apathetic and just like, done with it. It's better to be with just me, myself, and I. You know, like if you're in that kind of space, I feel like they help you get out of that and help you kind of like just believe in goodness again, just across the board. Like believe in the goodness of people and believe that not everyone is out to screw you over. Those are lyrics from Marina and the Diamonds. I know she doesn't go by that anymore, but her song Fear and Loathing. Go listen to that song. I'll try to put it in the description box if I remember, or maybe I'll put some of the lyrics at the end of your reading. Yeah, I think I'll do that to make it easier for you. But I mean, obviously you can go listen to the song as well. Yeah, I feel like that's going to be the space that you're in, and they're going to help you have that moment of clarity or have that epiphany moment where you're like, wait, just because some people are like this does not mean that all people are like this, or just because, you know, I had rotten luck in the past does not mean that I'm cursed. You know, that like I feel like maybe there was a feeling almost like the cards were stacked against you, or like fate was against you, or you were just really unlucky, you know, and just feeling really down. And I really feel like they help you through that period. And for some of you too, they could help you out in your career in some ways. If this was maybe like a job situation that you left behind, I do feel like this person having their ducks in a row could offer you some practical advice, but only if you ask for it. I'm hearing only if you ask for it. They're not the type to tell people what to do or anything like that, only if you ask for it. But I feel like emotionally they're going to be supporting you a lot by helping you stay in the present moment. Like that's the biggest thing. This person really does live in the present moment, and they're helping you do the same, which is tricky, right? Like it's so tricky, especially when you're going through like a healing process, or you're coming out of a tough stage of your life, or a tough situation, or a connection that was really, really difficult. I mean, it's hard. It's definitely hard. Okay, so group one, this was your reading. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I've mentioned before, a lot of my decks, or like most of my decks, are packed up right now, so I'm just working with these like little tarot decks that I have. So yes, just bear with me until I get moved into my new apartment. Anyway, I'm wishing you all the very best, of course, as always, and yeah, please take care. I will see you in my next one. welcome to your reading. So this is going to be your next love story. As I was getting ready, preparing to move into your group after finishing group 1, I heard this is a person who says a lot with very little. So this person speaks with intention. They really mean what they say. If they say something, it comes from like a genuine, authentic place. They're not just trying to flatter you or make false promises, and they don't babble, okay? So like when they say something, they really mean it, and they don't, they're not one for gossip. They don't really talk. You know how they say people talk out of both sides of their mouth? Like they don't run their mouth. They're very careful about what they say, because I'm hearing like they understand the power behind language and words, and I almost wonder if this person dealt with someone who was verbally abusive in their past, or maybe they were bullied or teased when they were younger. But this person's just very careful and very mindful about what they say and how that comes across to other people, and they never want their words to hurt someone else, or they never want to say something that's like ignorant or something that they really have no place saying. And so this person, is pretty polite, and they can come across as a bit reserved just because they speak with intention. So they're not just chattering away, talking. They're very careful and mindful about what they say and how that comes across. And I wouldn't say, it's not that they edit themselves, they try to say things in the best way that they can. So it's not that they're changing the content of what they're saying, but they change the delivery. Like they're careful and mindful of tone, word choice, like all of that matters to them. And they're very respectful. This is not the type of person who would curse or scream in an argument or call you out of your name. They don't even say things like, they wouldn't call you stupid or dumb, or you know what I mean? Like they wouldn't put you down or say anything like that, even when they're really, really angry, which I mean, no one should, but I'm just hearing that this person handles themselves really well when it comes to conflict. Like they know how to express how they're feeling without hurting someone else. Yeah, of course, the King of Cups, like they're very emotionally intelligent in that way where, if they're upset, they're not letting their emotions get the best of them. They're not letting their anger take over. They're still speaking from a place of compassion. So group 1, their person also had emotional intelligence, but it was more of like being really charming and charismatic in like social settings, and knowing how to respond to people, and knowing how to tell jokes and to be funny and to be sort of likable. Whereas your person has more of this energy of kind of holding back, standing apart from the crowd and kind of observing things. And I feel like your person is more about their own business. They're very much more focused on themselves, maintaining their own peace, and nothing gets past that. I also feel like this person is very intuitive. They may be spiritual. Not for all of you though, but I do think this person has a strong moral code though, because they do hold themselves to a certain standard. For this person, they could be Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, but they definitely like to be in control of themselves. They don't like to do anything or put themselves in a position where they don't feel like this person's not going to get like sloppy drunk, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Or they're not going to forget, I'm hearing, who they're around. They don't trust everybody, okay? Like they really like, they're not confrontational, but remember how I said like they'll sit back and observe? So they know how to read people, and they watch how people move. And if someone is acting in a way that just intuitively feels off to them, like in their gut, they're like, I don't have a reason logically to not trust that person, but I don't trust them. And so like they just kind of hold back a bit. And so they don't like to put themselves in a position where they're just speaking too freely and that other person can hurt them in some way, betray their trust in some way. You know, they like to be in control of themselves for sure. They're definitely mindful of appearances and how they come across, and maybe that has to do with their work. You know, maybe they work in a field where appearances matter. So like politics, you know, or they're well known in their community, or they're a business owner, so they're aware of how their image can impact their business. I do think it's interesting with your group, we automatically jumped right into this person's personality, whereas group 1 was like a story of like how they met and like the circumstances leading up to it, whereas yours, it's like, let's get into this person and who they are. So I feel like even though your person has a quieter personality on the surface, they actually have a stronger, you know, like there's more, there is more depth to your person than group 1. There is more, you know how they show pictures of glaciers? And like you can only see a bit of it from the top, but then underneath the water, like it's vast. That's how this person's personality is. There's so much more to this person than meets the eye. Can we get a little bit actually about their physical appearance? I didn't do that for group 1, but I don't know why I'm feeling called to for you all. Actually, with the death card, I feel like they've gone through a glow up at some point in their life. Tell us more about this glow up. King of Pentacles. Okay, so they had a glow up in terms of their personal style, in terms of their health and their fitness. So this person may have started to go to the gym a lot, or they may have taken up running or some sort of sport, or they decided to go vegan, or I'm not saying like any of these things are like aspirational. I'm just giving out examples of like how they could have, you know, made some sort of lifestyle change that could have affected their physical appearance. I definitely feel like this person also could have changed up their style. They could have bought some new clothes, had a new wardrobe, an aesthetic change, a haircut for some of you guys. This person underwent some sort of personal style body transformation before they met you. We've got the Seven of Swords. Oh, you know how people make jokes, you know, after someone goes through a breakup, people will say, oh, they lost 170 pounds of dead weight. Oh, they lost 110 pounds of dead weight. Like, you know, estimating however much their ex-partner weighed, they'll say that, like, oh, they lost all that dead weight. That's what I'm hearing. So for this person, like, before you guys meet, or maybe they just had a significant partnership in their past end, but it's like, yeah, they lost all that dead weight. They dropped that cheating, lying, like, lying person, and they had a glow up. They look so much better. And it's true, like, when you're dating someone and they're stressing you out and you can't sleep, and it's just wearing you down and it's eating at your confidence, I mean, you know, it happens. And then when you're free of that, I mean, okay, with the Queen of Cups, maybe some of you guys are like, oh, I've experienced that. I've had that too. Yeah, some of you guys are like, hey, I went through a glow up like that too. I know exactly what you're talking about. Some of you are catching my drift here. The Five of Wands. It's funny. I think you're gonna be able to sense that this person is into you. Because even though they tend to be on the sidelines, they tend to be an observant person, not someone who necessarily participates in all the drama and all the, you know, they don't like to be the center of attention. But you're gonna, sorry, there's something about this group where I'm feeling really, like, giggly. I feel like this person brings out a really sweet, soft side to you. And that's going to feel really nice because there's something about them where you feel so safe. And that's why you can let a softer side to yourself come out that maybe you haven't been in that energy in a while, okay? But anyway, with that Five of Wands coming out, you're gonna be able to tell that they're into you because they're putting themselves out there more. Like, they are joining in on conversations with people that they wouldn't typically associate with, just so they can have an excuse to talk to you. Or they'll go to places just because they hope they'll see you there. So this person may be on the periphery of like your social circle. So it could be someone you work with, or like a friend of a friend, or maybe you grew up with them, or they know someone in your family. So like you've seen them around kind of deal before you actually really connect with them. But it's like any excuse to talk to you, like any excuse to be I'm hearing like to be on your radar. Yeah, like you're kind of looking, especially like if you work with this person, like maybe this person tends to stay, I'm just giving an example, but maybe this person tends to stay in their office, and then all of a sudden, like they're at the reception desk a lot, and you walk past the reception desk to get to the break room, and you always, I don't know, go make like your mid-morning coffee, and all of a sudden like they're hanging out at reception, and then they start talking to you when you walk by, something like that. Or this person tends to go out for lunch, but then they start sitting in the break room with you during lunch trying to talk to you. We've got Temperance coming out. They're definitely going to take their time with it. I mean, this isn't the type of person to like rush in, tell you that they have a crush for you or that they have feelings for you. They're not, that's just not their vibe. They're going to follow your lead on this. They're going to pay attention to how you respond when they try to talk to you, and that's how they're just going with the flow here, but you are setting that flow. Like you're setting the pace of this. Anything more about this love story that I haven't mentioned yet, Spirit, that group 2 should be aware of? Anything that would be on group 2's mind? 10 of Pentacles. Yeah, you really might work with this person. For others of you, though, maybe you're asking about, maybe you're sitting here and being like, well, what do they do for work? Like, are they financially stable? I don't want any more Peter Pans, or I don't want any deal with like a man-child, or I don't want to deal with like someone who's just trying to take my money or my resources. I want to be with someone who is successful in their own right. With a 10 of Pentacles, yes, yes, yes. This person definitely has it financially together, and there's someone that you could build a future with, if this ended up being like a long-term partnership. Some of you may have been wondering if this person wants children. They do want children, or at least they want pets that will feel like children. So maybe they want to be a dog mom or dog dad, but for a lot of you, this person does want at least one child. For others of you, maybe you were wondering if they're close with their family, and they are very close with their family. They may not have a large family, but there's at least one family member. For a lot of you, I'm hearing a grandmother or a mother that they're very close to. And they do feel a responsibility to their family. Like they would not be the type to miss family holidays or family get-togethers, or not call their mom for like 6 months, like they're not like that. Like they do check in. They do, yeah, and if their family needed something, like they would help out for sure. Because this person, they're very giving. They're very giving. They have a very open heart. They might second guess themselves a bit in terms of how interested you are. There may be a possibility here for some miscommunication, just because this person is a little bit more reserved. So I think you're gonna have to watch them the way they're watching you, and just be mindful that they're not gonna flirt with you in a very overt way, the way that group one's person was, you know? Like, it's a little bit more subtle. It's a little bit more subtle. They're gonna ask you questions. They're gonna be really curious about you. They're going to try to understand, like, your story, your past before you met them. Like, they want to know more about you. And I think if you can remember that, like, there's a reason why they have all this interest. Like, they're not being nosy. They want to get to know you on a deeper level. They want to get past the surface, but they're going to do that, again, in a very almost like staggered way. Like, they're not going to ask you 20 questions the first time they come over to talk to you or something like that. It's going to be like slowly over time. So this is going to unfold, you know, in a very organic sort of way. It's not going to be fast-paced. This isn't going to be this like red hot overnight, you know, like love affair. It's not like that. It's like, I don't know, they keep showing me like a boat just with no one rowing it, just kind of floating down a stream. Like, that's how the pacing of this is going to go. It's like, I'm not in control. You're not in control. We're just letting it flow. We're just seeing where this goes. We're just exploring each other, getting to know each other. Maybe that sounded awkward, but just in like a gentle, easy way. Yeah, like there's something that's very deeply intimate about that, you know? Like, I feel like when things do get physical between you two, that's where the fireworks come in. That's where it starts to feel explosive, because I'm hearing they just take their time with it in the same way that they took their time to get to know you. They're not in a rush, because I feel like this person has like a quiet self-assurance to them where they're like, yeah, I know group 2 is gonna eventually end up with me, I'm hearing. And I mean, that may be true, that may not be true. But from their perspective, it's like they might second guess whether or not you feel the same way, or like you are recognizing the chemistry between you two. But they kind of have this feeling like, even if it doesn't work out the first time, I feel like they'll come back around. I mean, that's kind of how they feel about it. Like, they feel like you two are end game, and so it doesn't really matter how it goes. Like, yeah, there's a feeling, I'm hearing like this inevitability that they feel like of course group 2 and I are gonna end up together. You know what it's making me think of? Like, you know how if you guys have ever seen the TV show Friends, and how like Ross and Rachel were always breaking up and just having this like messy relationship. Not saying that's how this is gonna go, but I'm just saying both of them at like different points in the show were like, but that door is always open. Like, even though we're not together now, even though we're just friends or we're just co-parenting, whatever, that door is always open. Like, we can both be in relationships with other people, but like, I don't want to close that door. And so they never, like, they were always mindful not to take it too far. Like, there was one episode where Ross could have like made out with Rachel's sister. Like, she was trying to like pursue him to get under Rachel's skin, and even though Ross felt like physically attracted to her or whatever, she was Reese Witherspoon, so he still didn't act upon it, you know, because he was like, I didn't want to do that, because if I made out with your sister, or if I was physically intimate with your sister, there would be no coming back from that. That would close the door on the potential of us, and I don't want to close that door. And so that's the piece that I'm picking up on here that reminds me of this dynamic that I'm seeing in your cards. Like, even if you guys don't immediately get into a romantic partnership together, even if this unfolds over time or at a slower pace than, say, group 1, there's still that mutual feeling between you two, or especially on this person's part, your love interest here. Like, I don't want to close that door. I don't ever want to do anything to group 2 where that door would be closed. Like, I always want the opportunity for us to connect to always be there. And, you know, like, if you work with this person, that could, you know, make things maybe a bit difficult. They may be careful not to do things within the workplace that could close that door. Because they see you as endgame. You know, with the swans here, like, they mate for life. So this person, you know, sees that potential within you. Like, they want to have a future with you. For some of you, I mean, they may want to get married and have a family with you someday. That's not going to be for all of you, but there is that feeling of like, I want this person to be my life partner. Like, I feel like I was meant to know this person. You know, for all of their maybe like quiet, unassuming energy, at their heart, this person's a romantic. I mean, they really are. Yeah. For them, it really was falling in love in every sense of the word. Like, it was inevitable. It wasn't a choice. There was never like a conscious like decision here. It was like meant to be. Like, of course, I feel this way for group 2. How could I not? It's group 2. You know, it's like, again, like when Ross made that stupid pro-con list, like way back in the early seasons. God, what was her, not Emily, the other one, Julie. When he was like, on paper, like, Julie makes more sense. And they're like, okay, so date Julie. And he's like, but she's not Rachel. And that was it. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how it looks to other people or if we make sense on paper. Like, I know how I feel, you know, like, I know how I feel. And that's it. And that's the King of Cups all day long. Like, this is how I feel. I mean, and that's it. Like, how, you know, you can't apply logic to this. Like, this is how I feel. And, you know, you are like their lobster, you know, like, this is it for them. And if they have to wait, they have to wait. If they have to see you with someone else, they have to see you with someone else. If it's not the right time, it's not the right time, but they'll wait. They'll wait. And with the Tower coming out, I don't know if I like fully addressed this or not, but, you know, there may be some unexpected things that like test this connection a little bit. But I feel like if you want this, it's yours. Like, because this person is in it, you know? So if you want this, if this sounds like someone you're like, yes, like, I want someone like that, this person is yours, you know? It's like the ball is in your court here. Alright, so group 2, this was your reading. Very different from group 1. It's always so funny to see like how dramatically different some of the groups can be. And then other readings, there'll be so many connections between the groups, so it's always so funny. But anyway, I'm wishing you the very, very best group 2, and yeah, I hope I see you in my next one. All right, last but not least, group 3, welcome to your next love story. Let's see what's going on. How is it all going to unfold? Group 3, a big thank you to my guides and your guides for coordinating these messages. Group 3, your next love story. What do we need to know? Group 3. Okay, we've got the Magician and the Page of Cups here. Okay, so this will be someone that you definitely manifest, but I'm hearing, like, accidentally, you know? Like, you may have, like, wished and hoped, may have, like, scripted your little heart out, you know? You may have prayed, you may have wished for it, but I feel like somewhere along the way, like, even if you were writing out every little detail about the type of person that you wanted down to like their hair color or eye color or something like that, the universe was like, I'm hearing, listening to what you were saying between the lines. It's like you were putting out this like very specific order, or you had this vision in your mind, or you had an idea of the kind of love that you wanted, right? And again, like, even if you're not someone who manifests like that, maybe you wish or prayed or you hoped for, whatever terminology resonates with you, whatever your spiritual practice is, it's like Spirit was translating that into, okay, this is what they say they want, but what do they need? And so, you know, it's like they were kind of reading into the intention behind why you thought you wanted those specific things in a person. And then they it's like you put in this order and you wanted this thing. So maybe you had it in your mind that you wanted a 3-layer strawberry cake, and that's what you thought you wanted. And then Spirit arrives at the door and they say, here is this ice cream cake, 6-layer, double fudge. And you're like, that is not what I ordered. That is not what I ordered, Spirit, WTF. And they're like, just try a bite. And you do, and you are shocked and appalled, and you're like, I thought I hated ice cream cake. I can't stand chocolate. What? And it turns out it's the best. Woo! Look at that. The Wheel of Fortune. Oh my gosh, sorry. Yeah, fate is intervening here, divine intervention here. You're almost gonna look back at this and laugh, because it really is like, wow, I was not expecting to fall in love with this kind of person. This is not at all like my usual type, or again, like what I thought I wanted, but this is so much better than the person that was in my head, right? Like that imaginary dream girl or guy, whatever. This is so much better. This is so much better. You know, like in Legally Blonde, where, I mean, Elle Woods, like, goes to Harvard to win back Warner, and there's like this scene where she's like, this is so much better. Like, this is so much better than that. When she talks about them like spending, I don't know, like spring break in the hot tub or something like that. And then she gets selected, I think, for the internship. And she's like, this is so much better than that. Like, who would have thought when she initially was like studying and applying for Harvard that she would even care about getting this like opportunity? But somewhere along the way, like, her priorities changed for the better. And so it's kind of like that. It's like, man, I can't believe like what I used to wish for, and this is so much better than the person that was in my head. Like, this is so much better of a relationship than what I could imagine. And yeah, I mean, wow. Okay, your reading's starting off very differently. So with the Wheel of Fortune, this person may come into your life very much out of the blue, but let's see if we can get some more details on how you will meet this person or how this love story will start. Let's kind of get some more information about that if we can. With the Wheel of Fortune, we might not be able to, but let's just see if we can. We've got the 6 of Pentacles here. I want to get Seven of Wands. Okay. You could meet them when you're really busy with something and you're not paying attention. So this person could come into your life when you're really preoccupied. So that could be, you know how they say when you're trying to manifest something or you're trying to call in something into your life, it's when you release that attachment that they come in. And so this could be you releasing attachment without even realizing it because you're so preoccupied or focused on getting something done. For a lot of you, this could be in relation to your career or your professional life or like your financial stability, or you could be helping out someone else, like maybe your friend's going through a hard time or your family member is needing more attention because they're going through a hard time, or you have a lot of people or a lot of responsibilities, a lot of errands to run, maybe you're behind, like maybe you were sick and then, you know, when you start to feel better, you're like, man, I gotta catch up on the household chores and I gotta, you know, make up all that work I missed, you know, I gotta get back to my job, I gotta, you know, so a lot of things like that could just be pulling your attention away from your love life. And so when you release that attachment, that's when this person comes in, when you're really preoccupied with something else. Let's see, Two of Cups. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be the best relationship you've ever had. Let's just say that for sure. And you know what I'm thinking? This may catch both of you by surprise. Both of you know how they have those like meet cutes where they're like, oh, these two people are like walking and trying to, they did this on, I think it was Bewitched. If you guys have ever seen Bewitched, like the old school TV show. There's like a scene in the very beginning where they both literally keep bumping into each other over and over again, and then they're like, okay, we gotta go for a drink, right? Like we keep running into each other. So it could be something like that where both of you guys are preoccupied and busy during this time, but that's when you meet. That's when you meet. And with the Hanged Man here, again, like, or the Hanged Unicorn, I should say. An Ace of Swords. Yeah, this person definitely comes out of the woodwork, out of the blue into your life. Neither one of you is expecting it, and very different than, you know, like what you thought you wanted. But they give you a different perspective on love and relationships. You have a lot of epiphany moments, I feel like, about what love really is, what a healthy relationship really is, because some of you have just dealt with like narcissists, or you've dealt with like manipulative, passive-aggressive, deceitful people, people who are very self-serving. For some of you, I'm hearing. For some of you, maybe this is even like a parent that was just, you know, really messed up like your attachment style and gave you like trust issues. It's gonna vary, but yeah. King of Cups, this person could be a Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. I feel like also for a lot of you, you know, the King of Cups is always on his own island, right? So it's like during this time period, you're just like focused on yourself, focused on getting, I'm hearing like your ducks in a row. You know, you're just really focused on getting your life together. Things have been really busy and just, you know, you're just planning for your future, and you're not really thinking too much at this time about who's gonna be by your side during all of that. And it may be the first time in a long time where you weren't fixated on what was lacking or what was missing in your love life just because you're so busy. And it's like, who even has time to focus on that? King of Wands is coming out, so they could be Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. I feel like this could be part of it, is like maybe you thought you were wanting a King of Wands and then you get a King of Cups, or could be the reverse of that for some of you. Maybe you thought you wanted, you know, a jokester, comedic, funny, sociable, extroverted, adventurous, spontaneous King of Wands, and then you get the emotionally sensitive, creative King of Cups, who's a great listener. You know, like you may end up with someone who just has a different personality than what you're used to or what you thought that you wanted. But with Justice, though, this is the person that you deserve. Like, karmically, you know, like this is your this is your gift, you know? Fate's like, listen, we can read between the lines here, and between the lines you're saying you want to be in a happy, healthy relationship. You don't want any more mess. You want to be with someone who's compatible with you, where there's chemistry, where there's mutual support and effort. You want someone you can trust, someone who's going to be faithful. That's what you're really saying you want. None of this other stuff at the end of the day really matters. You want someone where there's, you know, like physical attraction, where the physical intimacy is going to be good. We got you. We know exactly how to fulfill that order, you know? And so it's like, you know, don't tell us how to do our job. Like, we got this. Don't worry about it, group 3. Yeah. I do think your guides are pretty funny. They're like, you know what? We got you. Don't even worry about it. You know what? It's actually, this is probably a weird example, but to understand like the dynamic of this, or how this comes to be, I remember like back in the day, Video Games by Lana Del Rey, like that song blew up, right? And it was everywhere. And I remember there being all this chatter about her, like, you know, like these hipster like bloggers, saying she was a fake and a fraud and like all this stuff, right? And there was like all this controversy at the beginning of her career. And so I never really listened to her music. And so when I actually listened to her album, I remember the first song I heard other than Video Games was This Is What Makes Us Girls. And I fell in love with that song. And I was surprised. I ended up listening to the whole album. And I was like, I mean, at this point, she had already released Paradise. Like, you know, she had been around for a minute. Ultraviolence hadn't come out, but she had been around for a minute. And I was like, man, I've been sleeping on her this whole time. And now, I mean, she's my favorite artist. Like, I love her music so much. I mean, next to SZA, she's my favorite artist. I mean, I would say Lana Del Rey is first, but SZA's a close second. But anyway, so it's like that. It's like, how did I not even like consider this type of person would be right for me? Like, I was sleeping on this. Like, I can't believe I enjoy this as much as I do. Like, why didn't I consider this type of person before? Why, you know, like I've been dating like the whole, like, you know, just the wrong type of person. I've been with the wrong type of person. And I mean, it's just this idea of like what you thought you wanted, not really gonna make you happy. And what you thought you didn't want ended up being such a great fit. You know, it's like I didn't think I would enjoy this album so much. Man, I wish I would have listened to it sooner. It's a great album. That's the kind of vibe here. I hope it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, for some of you, it could be also that this person comes from a different cultural background, or they were raised just in a very different way than you. And that's partially why they give you such a different perspective on a lot of things, not just love. Yeah, because they have a very different mentality to you, a different approach to life. I feel like this person comes into your life and they turn your world upside down, but in the best way. It's like, you know how you feel after you do some spring cleaning and you look around and then you're like, maybe I'll go ahead and rearrange the furniture too. And it's crazy how just that simple act can change the entire energy of your space, right? How it can change how the room looks just by moving your couch, right? So it's something like that. Like, they come into your life and yeah, they shake things up, but it's just in being who they are and expressing who they are, and it just completely changes your perspective. And so the things that you were used to seeing in just one limited way, you know, it turns everything on its head. I kind of feel like you do the same for them, quite frankly. I wonder if you're going to introduce like spirituality, the occult, tarot, astrology, if you're into that stuff, I'm assuming you're into tarot, but if you're into astrology and things like that as well, I feel like you're gonna introduce them to that. You're gonna change their perspective too. I'm also hearing this person's gonna be really sweet with your pet. If you have a pet, they're gonna be really sweet with them. And they definitely, I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase this. They will definitely make their affections known to you. There's something that is very earnest and straightforward about this person. They don't mess around. They don't beat around the bush. You know, like they're gonna make it pretty known to you that they want you. And maybe you're not used to that. Maybe you're used to people acting in a way that kept you second guessing, and maybe you thought that meant it was exciting, or maybe you just thought that was how it was supposed to go. You know, maybe you got so used to people playing games that it just became normal, and then this person comes in and you're like, oh, they're not waiting 3 days to call me back? Oh, they're not leaving me on red for several hours? Oh, they're planning, you know, there's making a date with me at the end of our first date, like they're already making plans to see me again. This person definitely sees you as their match. Like, I feel like they come to that realization before you do. Yeah, like they pull you in. They pull you in. This person will see marriage with you before you see marriage with them. But I think it's honestly because some of you, man, like you've been hurt. And no wonder you were trying to manifest a specific person, or trying to wish or pray for a specific type of person. I feel like when people start to try to have control over those things, like trying to control who comes into their life like that, it's because they've been hurt. It's because they've been deceived. It's because they're afraid of the past repeating itself, and they don't want anyone bad coming towards them, offering them anything, because they don't want to get screwed over again. It makes sense. It makes sense. But, you know, Spirit is saying, like, trust us. Trust us on this one. Like, we get it. Like, you've been through whatever karmic stuff you had to go through, and it doesn't have to keep repeating itself, you know? It's done. Let's be done with it. Yeah, they definitely want marriage with you eventually. And I definitely, I feel like this person is pretty open about expressing how they feel, pretty open in their affections. Will definitely do little things, I think, to show you that. You know, if they're buying you flowers here, defending you, supporting you, advocating for you, sticking up for you, protecting you. Like, and there's a real sense of trust here. You know, you're not having to sleep with one eye open. There's a real sense of trust here. And a sense of, like, I'm willing to come to you. I'm willing to do whatever. For some of you, this could be a long distance thing. And maybe for some of you, you've had it in your head, like, oh, that could never work. But with this person, it doesn't matter if it starts off long distance. It'll still work. And that'll shock you. That'll surprise you. You may think, I couldn't even do that for a couple months. With this person, you could. Because it's a different dynamic than anything you've ever known before. You know, when it's real love, when it's true love, when it's honest, you don't have to have so many stipulations or so many concerns or worries. You don't have to try to control the outcome so much. It doesn't have to be so hard. It doesn't mean you don't put in work or effort, but it doesn't have to be so hard. Okay? I mean, this is going to be so good for you, so healthy for you, so, like, nurturing for you. I do feel like Spirit was quieter in your reading about the nuts and bolts, like the specifics about who this person is, because there is an element here of surprise, of them wanting to surprise you, of them wanting to give you a gift. And that gift is this person, this relationship, this connection. And so, you know, I feel like they don't want to share everything. They just want you to have this really great surprise. Okay. I hope that this gave you some comfort, though, and I hope that this gave you something to look forward to, Group 3. You have a very special reading, and yeah, I mean, I'm wishing you the very best, because you definitely deserve it, okay? Please take care, and I will hopefully see you in my next reading.